Welcome to topic 3 of conversations we needed with our parents growing up. Theresa and I have asked everybody to give us their thoughts or questions, ideas about things that might have been really good to have heard from their parents or to know about their parents. And the role that we're talking about tonight, or the topic tonight, is I knew their role as parents, but I didn't know them. Mm-hmm. And the listener that sent this in was saying it would have been nice to know what they believed, my parents believed defined them, and what their hopes and dreams for themselves were. I miss seeing my parents as individuals.
Yeah.
And everybody misses seeing their parents as individuals. Is kind of how they presented it. So we thought it would be a really interesting topic to delve into.
Yeah.
What are your immediate thoughts, babe?
Yeah. So true. You know, when you were reading it, I was thinking how I know more about my mom outside her role as mom, because she's shared with us different writings that she's done, you know, like maybe a page or two, you know, over the last, 20 or 30 years that she'll send, you know, to us by email and say, this is a little bit more about me, you know. Which I think is really sweet. But I do think for me, it's nice, you know, to read those things that my mom shares. But it isn't something that in my family is, you know, a normal thing that we talk about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it would be nice to know who our parents are outside their roles, because they are, just like we are, much more than the role of child.
I agree.
Yeah. What comes to mind for you?
Well, both my parents are deceased for many years. Gosh, my mom's been dead for 25 years, something like that. Maybe more. Oh my gosh, yeah. 1994.
Yeah, 31 years.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And my dad's been dead since 2014. And so I have missed that opportunity. And, you know, I don't know that they had the capacity to share. I mean, they shared some. We would sometimes get into it. My mom would talk about how she was as a girl sometimes. Or I remember when she was probably 50 saying, you know, I feel like I could go skiing like I used to, because I knew stories about her living in Germany after World War II with my grandparents, because they were stationed over there and they'd go skiing all the time. And so she said, I think I could do it, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe I just think I can.
Maybe so.
You know, and my dad had really rigid concepts about, you know, how much to share. He would talk about his relationship with his parents, but he never really opened up. I don't think. I mean, not to the extent that I would have liked him to.
Sure.
But neither one of us had the maturity when he was still alive. I mean, I was gaining in that, but not enough to really sit down and have, you know, those conversations that would help us connect on a human level beyond the roles.
Yeah.
And his roles were as the child's responsibility, which must be what, you know, that's a generational thing, what he was taught. Child's responsibility. You want a relationship? That's your job.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that takes me down a whole different road. Okay.
10 other topics. Yeah.
Right. I have heard that in other places. So, yeah. So reasons our parents might have avoided it, the conversation, that was something that you just touched on, that cultural expectation to maintain authority.
Yes.
Or some level of mystery. I would say also could be shame in there. I don't want you to know, you know, who I am or who I was.
We all
or
have ugly and weak sides, weak moments, bad choices.
Yeah. I think often too, we don't have the language. We don't know how to be vulnerable. We don't know how to share. It's not something that people are very practiced at, that level of vulnerability, to really teach our children, regardless of our age, who we are who we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one that comes to mind is, and I think this was mostly with my grandfather, is not wanting to set a bad example by sharing foolish things he may have done or bad choices he may have made as a younger man or even as an older man. And because I remember a couple of times after a martini, he might blab about something that happened when he was a West Point cadet. And then I'd be like, what does that mean? He was talking loosely about some wild night in New York City, and this is in the 1920s, right?
Yeah.
Riding a mule down, Broadway or whatever the big street is in New York City. And he said, I was more interested in the bottom of a bottle of beer than in being responsible or something like that. And I didn't understand it. I was young enough that I had no idea he was saying about, I was drunk.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what does that mean? And he was just like, never mind. And that was the end of that.
And that was it. Yeah.
So we didn't talk about that stuff anymore. So anyway.
Yeah. And that reinforcement of perfection, not wanting, I should have mostly have done it perfectly, or I did most of it perfectly, as opposed to the reality of the messiness of life, right? Ooh. Yeah. And I think, in a lot of generations, I don't think it's just recently, but, the role of our parents is to provide home, clothes, food, shelter, not themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that still exists, but I think it's lessening. I hope. I don't see that many people the way you would. Is it lessening, do you think, culturally or not?
No, I don't think so.
Wow. I guess we walk in a different space. I mean, I think about all these conversations that are recorded, whether when we started audio and now video, and if Libby or my grandchildren or great-great-grandchildren or yours ever want to see the true about who these people were, they got it.
They got it. Yeah. Messy.
They do. And, but I don't think, to go to my grandfather's fear about being a bad example is if you are owning it and taking responsibility for it, you're really not a bad example.
Right.
And it might just help somebody make a good decision if they're faced with the same or similar set of facts.
Yes. Yes.
We need maybe it gives them an excuse. I mean, that's the fear, but so be it.
Yeah.
I think more so it's this good modeling about, hey, we are flawed as human beings. We are not perfect, and we are lovely anyway.
Right, right. Yeah, when I think about what was the listener looking for, right?
Yeah.
Like some shared humanity, right? With our parent, like you are human, I am human. I know I'm human, but were you human?
Yeah.
And so something must be wrong with me if you did it all perfectly when I know my life is messy.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think about that. Also, like some level of closeness that they're probably looking for by being more real with each other.
Yeah. More lessons and real guidance.
Yeah. Yeah. This was really a hard choice for me to make. Right. And I made it. I sacrificed for this, not in a way that creates burden for the child, but teaching.
Right. And let's talk about age appropriate. What do you think?
Sure.
I think it's obviously, in my opinion, older, like upper teens and beyond.
Sure. And it's not to me, this question isn't about when I was your age, right? It's not that.
Right. Yes, we've all heard that. Right. And I've said it now. Back in the day.
Right. Anyway. So I do, appropriate to different ages. Yeah. So if I'm talking to my 5-year-old, right, I'm not sharing my teenage years or my young adult years, right? Sharing the things that, my favorite toy or, the game that I loved playing or my favorite ice cream or when I was a kid versus what I like now.
How would I make myself feel better when I was upset? Or if
Yeah.
something scared me,
Mm-hmm.
what would I do? I think those are appropriate and would be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter our age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think having the conversations, even if the parents don't feel very capable and competent, shows a willingness to offer what they can. That, again, that level of vulnerability.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So for those people
Mm-hmm.
whose parents are still alive,
Yes.
what are some ways that you can approach this to try to crack the ice?
Yeah.
Invite them in to show you some parts of who they are and who they were.
Yeah. Well, I would say if it's something that you haven't done much of, I think starting with some easier questions just to kind of warm people up and get them to be thoughtful and curious. I think, what was your favorite ice cream as a kid? What was your favorite candy? What was your favorite movie? What was your dream job as a child? Then moving into over time as you're building, more trust in that level of sharing. What's a choice that you made that changed your life? Yeah.
Yeah. What's one of the most important things you've learned?
Yeah.
Or what's your biggest piece of advice you could give? I asked your parents that on the trip.
Yeah.
That was probably going to level 10 before we hit levels 1 through 9, but they'd handled it well. And it was fascinating. Yeah. It was good advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So sharing, you're modeling vulnerability, willingness to risk, it's really just understanding ourselves better too. Because so much of how we walk in the world, we mirror from what we've learned, whether we are aware of that or not, at what level of consciousness. It can be, I can know that I carry certain things from my parents. And then there are things that I may not know, but I still carry them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we had noted about barriers that might be in the way is if they think, if they have to, how do I say this? You don't want it to seem like you're cracking their head open, right? Well, let's crack your head open and see, the dirt, whatever it is, or that it's therapy, like you would be condescending in a way or they would feel shame in that process. So how do we get around that?
Yeah. I think you need to make agreements. I will not use this against you.
Yeah, I mean, framing it as legacy instead of therapy, right? I want to know who you are so I can carry it with me.
Yeah.
And I can make better decisions myself.
Yeah. And pass things down.
Yeah. Share your triumphs. Yeah. Your pains, all of that. That's knowing somebody.
Yeah, just not the burden of it, right? Yeah. Not with a sense of responsibility that it needs to be fixed, really just sharing the story. Right. Yeah. So, what I feel like is when we don't see our parents as people, what happens for us is we carry these distorted, internalized, pictures, visions of ourselves because we're filling in the gaps. We're making up what the role was or who they were or how they were instead of really having this opportunity to have a deeper understanding. Because again, going back to the mirroring, it's there. It's real, whether we want it to be or not. And so if we could have a little bit more information about how our parents' perception of things can really impact, and I'm not saying it's always positive, but, sometimes brings more freedom, more permission for us to even let go of stories that we've been carrying that just aren't true.
Sure, or anger. Even if it's true and justified.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things about my mother that because I don't know why she did what she did, I have many years of working on anger over those things or, things that happened or things that she said.
Yeah.
So Anyway, I hope everybody
complex
can
topics. Yes.
take the opportunity to at least consider opening up the door to getting to know your parents, who they really are.
Yeah. So that's what we have to share about that topic. And we are getting ready to step into Raised in Silence About Money, What It Cost Me. So we will see you in a few.